morning, DDRM. So guys, here's the other progress update on the Mustang. So you guys saw from the previous video, did a lot of work running line stuff, and then I was going to be doing wiring. So with that being said, yes, lots and lots of wiring, which everybody that builds cars knows takes a long time when you got. So I started out with the 69 Mustang with the American Auto Wire harness. It's actually the kit for the 6970 Mustang 510177. So as you could see from the diagram, you know, they give you the fuse block and then you have all these circuit branches. They relocate the fuse block on these just to the left of the upper corner next to the old fuse block hole, and then they utilize that to run like your front light harness through with a grommet, which is this fuse block right next to the parking brake. So once that's installed, you got to kind of separate this loom and run everything where appropriately where it goes, and all these branches. You got a set of relays, you have a front light harness, you have, if you have hood turn signals, which this one does, that has to get pulled through the firewall. Then you have the under dash harness with all the different connections for your dash, your interior lights, your courtesy lights, your glove box, your radio connections, stuff like that. And then, you know, American Auto Wire does pretty good with accessory harness. You know, they have a different AC dedicated line for hooking up to your AC. This is running vintage AC. Headlight switch, ignition switch, neutral safety switch. So they give you everything in this kit, and you just kind of have to, you know, and it's written instructions on where everything goes, the color of wires, everything's labeled. I really like American Auto Wire. I've used them on, you know, a few other cars before, and I really like it. So, but basically, this is what you get to. That was the template for locating the fuse block. So, for example, this is your front light harness. So, as it gets pulled through the firewall pass-through, you know, it comes out. All of these are about 20-foot lengths, most of them. You know, because your dark brown wire will start over your left-hand driver's side marker light, then that gets connected to your first headlight, then your second headlight, then I'll clear over onto the other marker light. Then you have your separate wires that control your actual headlights, your low beam and high beam, and all those get connected. So you gotta, you know, route everything nice and neat, loom everything. So as you can see over there in the corner, you have the pass-through. Clear over there to the right-hand side of the Willwood master cylinder. So as it comes through, you have to loom everything and separate it out. So this one here is going to be for the trunk. Okay, this is the trunk lights. This other harness right here, this is your front light harness. This is for the washer pump. So that would be your first branch. So as it comes over here, you know, you pull these two wires out that are going to your washer pump. You have to reuse existing plug. American Auto Wire does not supply that one for this particular application. So you reuse that, you tie it in, and the front light harness keeps going. Washer pump's installed. Then it keeps going. Then you got, you know, clear down here. This is where you start with the brown common, and that's your marker light. Then that one goes, you know, gets looped to all these different lower turn signal lights. Okay, so you go marker light, turn signal light, marker light. You know, so as the loom continues through the opening from forward in the Mustang, goes around there, then it branches off. Well, then these branch up. These are for your horn. So you got a 2-into-1, back into the harness, back up here into a single. So, and these are factory style clips that I utilize. I bought all, there's a package and you can get, and thank goodness I have local Boss Cars buy me that all he does is Mustang, so I can get all these, you know, bolt kits, interior, exterior, master body kit, master clip kit. So it's really, really nice because then it looks factory and everything has a place that's all labeled, so you know where it's supposed to go, which makes it really nice, ease of use for assembly. So, you know, the front line harness keeps going around, branches off, you know, right hand turn signal, right hand marker light. Then you come around and there's different wires that they include in American Auto Wire to update the actual car harness. Like this one here is for electric fan. It's a designated wire for electric fan. I'm going to be utilizing that probably as a 12 volt source. So I just have to verify if it's a 12 volt source and run hot in the run position. I'm going to utilize that because I am doing the complete Sniper 2 system. So I kind of have it mocked up right now. Top one is your Hyper Spark coil. The bottom one is your Mega Fuse block. So, and each one comes with a wire harness. Over here in the corner is going to be your Hyper Spark coil controller. Then the power distribution module will be over there. I'm making these really nice standoff plates. Paint them the same color as the apron. You won't even see. They'll get mounted at kind of like standoff plates, and then these guys will get mounted to that. And then you can run the wiring and actually loom it and hide it underneath the battery tray. So it makes it kind of nice. Because all this stuff has to be mounted within proximity of the battery, pretty close. So once that gets mounted, the Mega Fuse block, you have a normal battery cable, and I'll make my own, down to the starter. Then you'll have a 6 gauge from there down to the starter. You'll have another one up to the alternator, and then there's a 10 gauge wire. That's a designated hot lead from American Auto Wire harness, which this one pulled through here is the engine harness. And then the blue and the green are your oil and temp sensor. That other wire loom right here plug is for your windshield wipers. And of course, you know, we saw the AC, the plates done. That wire there is for the amp. It already had a factory hole in there, so I just grommet it, ran it in the dash, down into the rocker, and I'll show you that. That goes back to the trunk for the amp, for the system that I'm putting in this. The other harness coming out of the plate, that is just for the AC, so I'm trying to keep them separate, nice and neat. And I'll do the same over there on that shock tower. Has these ones here. You have to drill a little hole, and then they have these factory, really nice factory push-in clamp clips. You push it in. They're kind of a pain. You got to use these pliers that I have. They're kind of like flat nose pliers, and you push them in, and then you push them, you know, wrap it around your loom and push it. But they're kind of stiff, but they fit in there, and they lock in. They don't go anywhere. So once you finish that, that pretty much ties in your system. Now the power distribution module from Sniper allows you to wire everything into one central hub, which is a power distribution module, the PDM, which is kind of like a solid state capacitor relay in itself. So you have a main positive and negative that come in. Then every other slot, I think there's 18 of them, they each have a designated terminal for, say, your Sniper Hyper Spark, your fuel pump, your coil. The main wires from the Sniper harness go into there. Then you'll have a 12 volt switch source, which, like I said, I'll utilize the wire from the actual AAW harness if that is a 12 volt switch source running hot. That would go into to supply the power. So you got power in on one side, power out. It'll even control your fans. So we're going to have the Sniper control the fans. So when the fans go on there and it reaches a temperature, the Sniper will sense it because of its temperature sensor that you're going to mount in the thermostat housing. Then it would kick the fans on and off based on what thermostat. I don't know if I think we're running a 185, I think, thermostat in the 302. So, and that would, and then also, you know, would control like under throttle. You can do it for your AC, you know, so it would bump up the RPMs at either at idle if the AC is on, stuff like that with the binary switch in conjunction. So there's, you know, still some work to be done, but I'm getting the standoff plates made by Stan. And Stan, if you go back to a previous video, he's the one that did all the metal work on the 69 Mustang, because that guy's the guru with these Mustangs, because he has all the factory, he has the jig and he has the factory measurements and locations on everything. So everything he replaces goes back factory per measurement stocks. It's really, really nice. That way when you assemble these cars, there's no guesswork, because you know that it's going to go, this nut and bolt and grommet's going exactly where this hole is, where it's supposed to. And if you buy a new part, say like the battery tray, so if you put in that passenger side front apron wrong, your bolt holes wouldn't line up. So when you drop your battery tray down, the two need to line up, and then the two on the bottom. So if it's cockeyed or whatever, it's not going to line up and sit straight. So stands really good for this stuff. So as you continue the rest of the car, you know, so I already have like the headlights installed. I don't have the final trim rings on because I have to put a battery in it, turn it on, and adjust the headlights so they're not pointing all different directions. But as you can see, all that stuff's done. The marker lights are in. It has bulbs and everything. So we're making lots of progress on that. Like I said, guys, it takes so much time to wire this stuff. So let me show you. This is the rest of the harness. So this is the dash harness. So when you come here, you start in the left-hand corner. Like I said, you got the one that pulls through the front light harness. This plug here is for your rear body harness. So that comes, goes down. I have it loomed, goes back to the rear body. And as you can see, you have different, you know, branches off that. So like this first lead up here, okay, is for a trunk light, optional trunk light, which I end up putting an optional trunk light in right there. The tan wire down there, okay, that is for your fuel pump, which this is running a Sniper in-tank fuel pump, Resto Mod style fuel pump from Holley. So there's the wires, and it has to get wired up. You got, you know, fuel pump sending unit, you have the fuel pump trigger, you have a chassis ground, and you have a battery ground. So as the loom continues, it looms around nice and neat over to here to your tail lights. Well, your side marker light first, same as the front. Your brown's your common wire, so that goes from that to the tail light over to the license plate light, okay, which is down there, and I'm waiting for the license plate new bracket and stuff. Then it continues over there to the passenger tail light, so which you'll have, you know, keep on going. You wire that up, then you finish out, terminate with your marker light. This here, you said you already saw the fuel tank. This is all the amp wiring. So you have your remote turn on lead, you'll have your RCAs, and then you'll have your actual power supply. And then I'll ground it once it's back here. We're making a standoff bracket and where the sub goes and the bracket and everything else. So it'll be all nice and neat. Most of the floor is hush matted. I just have to do the back side, finish the tunnel, and underneath the back seat up to kind of that rear shelf. I don't go past that because you'll see that once you open the trunk. But there's actually a trunk mat that will lay over all of that. So as you can see over there in that fender well, I ran all the wire and tucked it. So I still have to zip tie everything and make it nice and neat, stuff like that, to keep it in the rocker channel. But as you can see, there's still a lot, you know. The dash is built out. I'm just waiting for the radio. We had to order a specific one to fit in the stock location that still does Bluetooth. It's from Custom Auto Sound. So they make a really nice upgraded radio look stock. So there's still a few stuff I have to do in here. Neutral safety switch, backup switch. There's your radio connections. The brown one's your AC connection. That's your variable speed sensor. Glove box, courtesy lights. So there's still, you know, stuff to do. You know, wire up, stuff like that. But it's coming along, guys. So that's kind of the update progress on it. You know, summary of it. The painter's coming down probably here in about a week. Help me take the hood off because at that point in time, next thing first is, like I said, get these brackets done, get this wired up, get it all there. Hopefully the radio comes in, get the half dash put in, get all the ducting for the AC done. Then I can mount the steering column. Once all that's done and everything, I'm going to bleed all the brakes since they're all hooked up, get all that ready to rock and roll. Make sure it's centered, you know, best I can with alignment wise before I have to. And there's luckily the one shop is right across the street that's going to do the alignment, so it's not too far. Like literally a quarter mile. I just have to drive out the my shop area across the street. So once that's done, you know, once you get the motor and tranny in and start it and this and that, you know, then that'll be the next step on the process before I can take it to my other buddy and run it on the dyno. We're going to try to break most of this in on the dyno with tuning and stuff like that versus drive it on the street. I'll still have to drive it on the street just to kind of test out the suspension and seat the brakes. You know, everybody knows you put new brakes, you have to do all of your, you know, stops with them at 15, 20 miles an hour and gradually work your way up, 35 to 45, medium to hard stops, 55, medium to hard stop. You're kind of seating the pads on the rotors and then you let it cool down. So I still have to do the AC condenser. Had to cut out, this used to have a flap on it right here, and that was if you had a stock AC car, which this car was not a stock AC car. So now the lines actually come through here and will hook to your condenser and stuff up here in the front, then the lines, and then they supply you with the lines that'll hook up there where it comes with firewall, but I have the hydraulic crimpers so I can actually run them where they need to be, which will be contained on this side, on the passenger side of the motor, because when I had them do the motor, this CVF front accessory kit, here's the AC, okay? So that way it's on the passenger side and everything. The only thing I'll have to do is I'm just gonna put it in a, you know, all the loom that I use for the wiring is the wraparound heat resistant loom. So from the mega block, fuse block, it'll go around underneath on kind of the frame and then come up, and that'll be over, you have a 6-gauge wire over to your alternator. So that's kind of the only, not really a long run, but longer run, you know, that you'll have to do, like I said, around, down, and then you'll come up. So lots of progress, guys. And then I actually have another car that I'll be including in this video that I picked up. So Boss Cars, Rick, the owner, is nice enough that he picked up this car, and it's going to be a special car. So let me pause this real quick, get over to the other shop, and continue this video with the other car. Guys, here it is. This is so Rick from Boss Cars, like I said, was nice enough to present me with this opportunity. So this is a 68 Mustang GT, okay? It's a factory, what they call a J-code car. So this, off the assembly line, is what Carroll Shelby would have selected for. This will be a Shelby GT350, and I'll be able to actually get it plaqued and licensed with the VIN number, and we'll be able to mount it here just like the regular Shelbys because Rick is licensed to do that. So this will be all the Shelbys. Yes, when they're built at Shelby America, are what you consider kind of clone because there wasn't an assembly line that came off. They went over to there and they were turned into the Shelbys. So this car will be a Shelby GT350 convertible. So we just got this car yesterday. I'm at the shop with actually a business partner of mine. His name is Tony. What's up, Tony?
What's up, everybody?
Hey guys, so Tony is one of the best mechanics that I know, okay? This guy can diagnose and figure out everything. So him and I are actually partnering on this. So we're gonna build this through, you know, the DDRM in the shop, and we have some other stuff in works, and I'll do another video and fill you guys in on that. It's exciting, making lots of progress, changes. So right now, we got it in yesterday. Tony's a workaholic, so he got here earlier than I did. So he's already got most of the top end stripped off. What we have to do is pull the motor and tranny in the front end because it has to go over to Stan. Stan is going to redo and fix the metal. So you have the passenger side apron that'll have to get replaced. There's a couple little pieces. Well, there's one little piece on the radiator core support that we found that he'll now have to address. The rest of the car is actually pretty clean. Underneath is pretty clean. There's a couple spots in the quarter fender well, but that's about it. And then the floors were done at one point in time, and then kind of where the dual exhaust would come through the floor. You can kind of see one little hole, but that gets cut out, and there's these reinforcement plates that get welded in. So not a big deal. So we're gonna go strip the whole entire car, go through everything, redo the motor in-house. We have a tranny guy that's excellent. He'll redo the C4. So this is a factory AC car, so it's gonna stay a factory AC car. So when this is done, it will be sunlit gold with black interior, black top. And I'm not for sure from Rick if when they do the new vinyl top, I think we're gonna elect to have a glass window. If they do that still with these, if I can have a real glass window versus that plexiglass, which I hate that stuff. So we're getting it. Tony is, like I said, busted tail on this. He's getting ready to rock and roll, but this is the 68 GT convertible. So I'll keep you posted on this as the progress goes along on this, and also the 69 that I'm finishing up. So here we go, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one.